Session 1 gets treated like this huge sacred thing. People feel like if they don't nail the first session, the whole campaign is doomed. I don't think Session 1 needs to carry that much weight. It doesn't have to set up a giant plot arc, it doesn't have to explain the whole world. The main job is to get the group working together, and to see if everyone likes playing these characters in this system. I'm Simon. I've been running tabletop RPGs for a few decades in all kinds of systems. And my Session 1s these days are basically just a self-contained one-shot in the style of the campaign that I want to run. One clear problem, something the group can overcome together, and a chance to find out if this mix of players actually clicks. In this video I'm going to give you 5 tips for running Session 1 so that it feels like a complete little adventure on its own, gets your group pulling in the same direction, and sets you up for more sessions if everyone wants to continue. Tip 1 is to treat Session 1 as a test drive, not the first episode of a massive epic. You don't need to explain the whole world. You don't need to introduce the big villain. You don't even need to lay out a 10-session plot arc. All you need is a one-shot size situation that shows the tone of the kind of game that you want to run. If the group enjoys that, you can decide to keep going with the same characters in the same world. If it somehow doesn't click, you haven't trapped everyone in a huge story they don't actually like. Thinking of Session 1 as a low-commitment test drive takes the pressure off. You can relax a bit and focus on giving them one good shared experience instead of trying to cram the entire campaign into 3 hours. Tip 2 is to give the group one clear shared goal that they can only really solve by working together. Session 1 doesn't need a huge plot arc, it needs a challenge. Something concrete like rescue someone who has gone missing, survive the night in a dangerous place, clear a small dungeon or a nest of monsters, or escort someone or something from A to B. The important bit is that it's very obvious what success looks like, and that it's easier if they cooperate. If one player tries to solo it, they should very quickly realise that this actually will go better when everyone contributes. This is why a random one-shot is almost ideal for Session 1. It doesn't need to tie into a big story. It just needs to give the party a reason to stick together, and a problem they can actually overcome as a group in 2 or 3 hours. Tip 3 is to build your Session 1 around a few different kinds of scenes, so each player gets a chance to find out how their character plays. That might look like a simple social scene where they talk to an NPC and get the job or gather information, some exploration or investigation, poking around a location, checking for traps, working out what's going on, and one decent challenge that feels like a real obstacle. A combat, a tricky negotiation, a puzzle, or some kind of hazard. You don't need 6 combats and 3 puzzles. You just want enough variety that the talky characters, the fighty characters, and the more tactical or problem-solving players all get a taste of what this campaign might feel like. The goal for Session 1 isn't to tell the whole story. It's give everyone 1 or 2 moments where they think, yes, I like how this character plays in this game. Tip 4 is to teach the rules during play instead of expecting everyone to study the book in advance. Especially with crunchier systems, new players can feel guilty for not knowing the mechanics yet. Personally, I don't expect my players to learn the rules before we play. If they can tell me what their character wants to do, I can tell them what dice to roll and what numbers to add. In Session 1, I pay attention to who already knows the system and who doesn't. If I'm running a D20 style game, for example, and someone's unfamiliar, in the first combat I'll literally walk them through the loop as an example. Roll a D20, add your base attack bonus, add your strength bonus, and if that beats the opponent's armor class, then you succeed. And then you roll this dice for damage and add your strength bonus to that. If I'm running a different system, I'll just do the same thing with whatever that game's core loop is. What are the dice, what do you need to add or take away from it, and what counts as a success? Some people will pick it up after one round, some people will need a few reminders, and that's fine. You also don't have to pretend that you know every rule yourself in session 1. If a situation comes up and I'm not sure of the exact rule, first I'll ask if anyone at the table knows it, especially if I've got a system expert, or sometimes referred to as a rules lawyer, in the group. If nobody's sure, I'll just make a quick ruling that feels fair and keeps the flow going, and I make a note to look it up properly after the game. Next time it comes up, we'll use the correct version. The important bit is that the game keeps moving and people feel safe saying, "I want to do this, how do I do it?" rather than feeling like they should already know the book by heart. By the end of session 1, most players will have a basic feel for how the game runs just from doing it. Tip 5 is to end session 1 with a clear win and then ask the group how they felt about it. Because we're treating session 1 like a one-shot, you want them to actually finish something. They rescue the person, clear the dungeon, survive the night, make it to the destination. Doesn't have to go perfectly, but they should feel like they achieved something together. After that, take a few minutes just while it's fresh and ask them, did that feel like the sort of thing you'd like more of? Was there anything you especially liked or didn't like? And do you want to carry on with these characters in this world or adjust anything before we actually call this a campaign? This is where you check the tone, the system, and the group dynamic are working. If everyone's keen, you can build from there. If something needs tweaking, characters, rules, even the game choice, it's much easier to change after a self-contained session 1 than 3 sessions into a long arc. And if you do decide to turn it into a full campaign, then that's where all the other stuff I've talked about in previous videos comes into play. Collaborative world building, low prep sessions, keeping the campaign alive long term. That's my approach to session 1. Treat it as a test drive, not as a huge pilot episode. Give the group one clear goal that they can only really solve together. Mix in a few different kinds of scenes so that everyone gets a chance to shine. Teach the rules at the table so that new players can just say what their characters do and then end with a solid win, and a quick debrief to decide whether this is the game you all want to keep playing. If you want ideas for how to build the world around that first adventure, I've got a video on collaborative world building with your players. And if you're worried about prep, then there's another one on running low prep sessions that still feels satisfying. Let me know in the comments how you usually handle session 1, and whether you treat it as part of a long arc or more like a test one-shot. And if you want more GM and tabletop advice like this, hit subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching and good luck with your first session.